Hello and welcome to the trade setup. In this video we are looking at energy fuels. It is time for another update, and today we'll be discussing the extension, or rather the next wave to the upside since the previous video, and yeah, we'll be talking more about the structure and what we should expect further in a moment. But before that, I want to go quickly through the larger time frame for any of you who might be new. And here we have been tracking this idea of a larger 1-2 setup where a third wave would ideally emerge from such a structure. Now, for this to be a reliable wave 3, we would like to see the ideal target be reached, the 138.2% extension of the wave 1 around the $130 level. And since we actually already built within this push to the upside the wave 1, 2 and 3, there is a very good chance we will not get to those levels. And it is certainly possible. It is possible within the fifth wave. It is possible within another interpretation. Yeah, within the idea of a 1-2 setup, we could still get there. But it isn't necessarily going to be the most likely scenario. We might not get that. And then we need to have a backup plan. What structure can we really track if we don't get it? Especially since within a fifth wave, we might form here a tiny 5-wave move to the upside and be done. Well, this could work out as an internal wave 1 to the upside, part of the larger wave 3. In the long term, that would be even more bullish than the current interpretation where we form a third wave directly, because then we would track a 1-2 setup, we would have a larger wave 3 to the upside, which would far exceed those levels, especially based on the sheer size of this initial wave 1 part of the larger wave 3, and yeah, it would be even more bullish for the long run. But realistically, this could also work out into an idea of an ABC structure, in which case the ideal target is actually the 100% extension around the $47 level. Well, that is very much within the reach of our fifth wave right now, and that would actually imply a possibly even larger correction than what we would expect within a 1-2 setup in this area. Yeah, this could be a larger 1-2 setup. It could be even a more significant top that could take us to new lows. Now, of course, we will have lots of areas of support along the way, but there is some risk to be considered once we actually complete this next move to the upside. Now, as you may notice, there is one common theme between all these scenarios that I just mentioned to you. Within all of them, we actually expect to extend higher. Yeah, this is the likely part of this structure. This is much more likely to play out. Yeah, whether it is within one scenario or the other, this is a very likely setup. Yeah. Now, of course, we can get no guarantee the market could crash tomorrow, but it is rather preferred. The probabilities highly suggest that a fifth wave would be still forming within this area, and that is because we have formed here our initial 5-wave move to the upside, we had our 3-wave correction, and at least another 5-wave move to the upside is highly preferred to follow. Yeah, this is on a large time frame, this is a high probability trade setup, and this is what we have been tracking. And exactly for this, I provided you this area of support once we topped within this wave 3 for the correction, yeah, here in the wave 4 at the levels between the $17.6 down to initially the 50% retracement at the $10.8 level, but in an extension where we might track a large diagonal structure, we could have allowed even the 61.8% retracement. But right now we are still even tracking a possible impulse. We have a 3-wave move to the downside within this correction, which is all we need to consider it complete. A 3-wave pattern into the area of support is all we need to consider this correction complete, and the fifth wave that is already very likely playing out. Now, on this chart especially, I'm not outruling the possibility of a larger correction within this wave 4, especially since we haven't broken out of the area of resistance just yet. Yeah, I provided you this area up to the $23 level at the 78.6% retracement for a possible extension of the correction. Now, again, this is not needed. The pattern to the downside is full, but we certainly want to be tracking these levels also for a signal that if broken, this bottom is even more likely to be in place. The fifth wave is even more likely to already be unfolding. Now, I don't necessarily expect it to be a big issue to get through this area of resistance. We might get only a wick above it the first attempt, but yeah, I would expect after a correction to actually manage to get through. And within this structure to the upside, initially, we don't have necessarily the most clear 5-wave move to the upside within this area. While it is certainly possible to track such a structure, I was tracking it as an ABC structure for a more conservative approach, let's say. Now, I was also looking still for an area of support for a correction and an extension at least within the wave B in yellow, if not a larger push to the upside, but clearly we have formed internally within this area the initial 1-2 setup, which was the key structure that allowed us to track with high probabilities continuation higher. Yeah, I provided you, as soon as we topped within this wave 1, I provided you this area of support between the $14.9 all the way down to the $13.9. We were tracking a 3-wave structure within this correction, and we were looking for a 3rd wave to emerge afterwards. The ideal target was at the $18 level, but the wave 3 often far exceeds those levels, yeah, often extends to even unexpected levels, because if we look at the current extensions, we are far beyond even the 200% extension, yeah. We have just surpassed that, I believe yesterday one was this, yeah. Now, within this structure, I believe the wave 3 is actually still ongoing. We are still looking for higher prices internally within this wave 3 alone, and in this idea, in the previous video, we were tracking internally within this wave 3, this idea of a 1-2 setup here, a 3rd wave up, 4th wave down, and a 5th wave to form. And based on the developments, I still believe this is the exact pattern we are tracking. This is following through extremely nicely. We were looking for a correction into the area of support between the $18.4 all the way down to the $16.8. We had our correction, very small time frame, we shouldn't look too much into it, and we had our area of resistance. Now, this area of resistance was also used for a signal that, when broken, yeah, a break above this level would signal to us that the probabilities highly suggest that the wave 4 bottom, the correction bottom, is in place and the next wave to the upside is already emerging. Surely enough, after the initial break of this area of resistance, we did retrace back into it, but we basically tested from above the 50% retracement, we extended higher, we broke the previous high of this wave 3, and then yeah, it's only a tiny correction before extending in this even stronger next move to the upside. Now, in my opinion, again, we are still within a larger wave 3 in this area. Once we actually complete it, I will still be looking for another correction in wave 4 and another 5th wave to the upside. I will still be looking for continued extensions even once it is complete. And I believe we should actually expect quite a bit more upside within this wave 5, because I am tracking here an ending diagonal. Now, in this idea of an ending diagonal, I believe this is a 1-2 setup. A 3rd wave would be unfolding right now. I would be looking afterwards for a wave 4 correction and a 5th wave to complete only this 5th wave. Now, remember, this builds only this larger wave 3. Once this is complete, once this 5th wave in blue is complete, this larger wave 3 does have a full count. Does it mean it will have certainly a top? Well, no, we could certainly see even further extensions higher, but yeah, it is going to be in an area that is more likely to start the large correction in wave 4. I would find it much more likely to afterwards start, after we have here a 1, 2, 3 complete within a full count in this wave 3 interpretation. I would highly expect a larger correction in wave 4, but then I would expect again a next wave to the upside. And then even once this one is complete, I could still see another 4th and a 5th, because remember, this could work out as a 1-2 setup. I could track this as an impulse, and I will be tracking the follow-up area of support for continuation even higher. But for now, there is still plenty to rally even within this internal 5th wave in this area, and let's say we track this in white just to be more visible. This is still part of the 5th wave in blue, this is still part of the blue interpretation, and internally, I am looking at this structure and believing that this is an ABC pattern that is forming within this wave 3. Now, we can look for an ideal target for this wave 3, but I believe we have already exceeded it, yeah? No, we have actually just touched the ideal target, the 138.2% extension of the wave 1, and we can actually look, however, for the ideal target for the wave C, because remember, we are tracking here an ABC structure within which we expect to form a 5-wave move also within this wave C. Now, we will also look in the tiny time frame, although I do want you to be cautious with the structure that we will see within that area. It is not going to be very reliable. Even within this 15-minute time frame, it is a very small time frame. It is not going to provide the most reliable interpretation. But here, if we are looking for an ideal target for the wave C, I would be watching the $23.2 level. Now, that is the ideal target. The wave C doesn't need to get there, but it also doesn't need to stop there. And to gauge our expectations internally within this structure, well, based on the current pattern within this wave C, I could easily be tracking this as an impulse. Actually, I could see this as a 1 2 1 2 1 2 setup, and this could be a third wave that is about to form a more significant top. We could form a fourth, fifth, fourth, fifth, fourth, fifth to complete the wave C. So further extension higher is still possible. If we want, we can have here a tiny area of support that I would consider for this idea of an impulse. But if we fail to hold here the $21.8 level, yeah, it would likely form within a diagonal structure. I would still expect at least another high, even within that interpretation. Yeah, here a fourth and a fifth. But once that is done, yeah, we would need to consider a more likely top within this wave 3 to be in place. Now, since this wave 3 has not topped yet, I cannot give you an ultimate area of support. But for an idea of what we might expect within a correction in wave 4, this is assuming we have the top in place for the wave 3, which we very likely don't. But the area of support I would be watching would be here at the levels between the 23.6% retracement down to the 61.8% retracement. Currently, this sits at the $21.6 all the way down to the $20.2 level. Now, if we fail to hold even the 61.8% retracement, I would need to consider an early top to have formed within this fifth wave, but right now, we are consolidating still at a very high level. Yeah, I believe there is still plenty of potential to be built even within this internal wave 3, and I find then the fourth and fifth very likely to play out. Now, we will also leave these in the blue interpretation. I wanted it to be more clear in the white scenario momentarily, but yeah, we are tracking continuation higher, and this is in the end still part of the larger blue scenario. But for now, these are the levels, this is the trade setup. I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, don't forget to subscribe and let me know what else you want me to cover, and I'll do my best to do that in the days and weeks ahead. And until then, I hope you have a nice day, and I hope to see you in the next video. Bye bye.